Hey YouTube, it's the Morning Brew. Happy Throwback Thursday. I just realized looking into the camera that I am wearing a Darth Vader shirt and drinking on my Darth Vader mug. Sometimes these things just go great together. Anyways, yeah, happy Throwback Thursday. Actually, this is kind of appropriate, right? Yeah, little Vaders. It's throwback for a lot of people. Especially for me. So having that last week was the first time I watched the original Star Wars trilogy. Who knew he was Luke's father? Holy crap! Anyways, got my cold coffee again. I could be drinking it warm, but I chose not to. That's the way I roll. Anyways, if you're all curious about yesterday's announcement of the Facebook Wars, we lost a lot of great men on that battlefield. But we kept a tyrant at bay. We had no choice. It had to be done. In all seriousness. Man, some people are dense. We even came up with a new element called stupidium. So dense, even Superman can't seem to break through it. We've decided to call it stupidium because of the density of no matter how hard you try to explain something to someone, no matter how hard and how many people, in a thread that went for 500 plus comments trying to explain to this person, you're wrong. You're belligerently wrong. You can't call people those names. You can't say blah 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 blah. You can't act that way. It's wrong. This is why you don't have any friends. Stupidium. For those people. That's what they're composed of. Anyways. Other than that, I'm still waiting for some of my resin supplies to show up. I've also got a couple of eBay auctions going to replenish some of my supplies before I start my Etsy account. If you're interested in checking them out, I'll put the links in the description. The auctions are for the Square Enix toy line of Batman Arkham Asylum. It would be black and white Batman, which is still sealed, and black and white Joker, which is not sealed, but was displayed, but carefully put back in the packaging, and it's in perfect good condition. So, with that, if you're interested, the links are on the bottom. Bid away. I'm not asking for much. It really does go down to me buying the new tripod I need, because I mentioned about a week or two ago that my current tripod broke, so it's kind of jimmy rigged with duct tape. And, of course, a nice little nifty remote control for this camera so I can pause and stop and all that good stuff. And some resin molds so I can actually start making more advanced jewelry and coasters that I've been wanting to work on. So it all goes for a great cause. If you're interested, like I said, links at the bottom. Other than that, well, not much else. Yeah, there is, but I don't want to talk about it. Anyways. Yeah, it's been a interesting couple of days, but I can't make any announcements, and I can't really talk about things that I really want to talk about just yet. So we're gonna move on. Moving on. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm sad to have to make another announcement of another actor passing away. Now, of course, he passed away. Jeez, where did I put the date on that? Oh, back on April 26th, and I wasn't made aware. I don't think the announcement was made officially until recently, and it must have been yesterday or today. But the voice actor for Tony the Tiger, Lee Marshall, also known for his wrestling announcement days in the WCW and WWE, including WrestleMania 2, passed away at the age of 64. It's kind of sad. Tony the Tiger is one of those characters that I think everybody grows up with. I still love my Frosted Flakes. I still think they're great. There's my audition. Anybody's interested. He took over the role from, and I love this actor's name, Thurl Ravenscroft. Now that doesn't freaking go Lovecraft all the way at the name. I don't know what does, but Ravenscroft started the role in 1952. In 1999, Lee Marshall started to work on it, and finally in 2005, he fully took the role on by himself. And it's sad, he was only 64 years old. Seems to be a trend lately. that, celebrities that from basically the 80s and childhood for me are passing on, and it's sad. I really, Lee Marshall did have a lot more work as a voice actor, mostly portraying villains and such, but really his best known roles were in wrestling and Tony the Tiger. He leaves behind his wife, son, stepdaughter, and granddaughter, and my condolences and love to the family. No one has talked about who will be replacing him, although General Mills has said that they would like to stick with someone who has the same baritone voice as Lee did. Yeah. So this one's for you, Lee. Frosted Flakes, they're great! Not the best, but hey, it's a sad time. So, again, this one's for you, mate. Moving on to movie news. Extended trailer for the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has been announced and released. And if you're seeing it here on the screen, they finally explain what's going on, essentially, why San Francisco looks like a barren wasteland. And that is because the same virus that was released for the apes, and it's not been confirmed, and I've not been researching, because I really want to be surprised when I watch this film. But if I might understand the virus, or the chemicals that Caesar released may have been the cause for the almost entire annihilation of the human population. Much like in the original series, it started off with people losing cats and dogs to a nasty virus, and then monkeys were turned into pets and then servants. And then eventually humans tried to kill them with chemical warfare and ended up killing themselves. Now this could be the case as well, where another virus actual virus was released in order to basically finish off the apes and get the forest back, because it seems like they were at war for a while. It's been at least 4 years since Caesar escaped. And yeah, San Francisco looks like crap. There seems to be a small group of humans who want peace with the apes, who want to coexist with the apes. And then there's your typical gun-toting, I gotta kill them all because my family's gone, kind of spiel by the same actor who played James Gordon in the recent Batman trilogy. I can't remember his name, but I love the actor. I love his work. He did great, James Gordon, and I think he'll be great in this too. I don't remember. It's gonna be a great. It looks great. It just honestly looks like it just really. It took what Planet of the Apes was supposed to be on paper, and I'm sure in the creators' minds, and really gone with a little bit more of it. The Tim Burton remake was horrible. I don't ever want to accept that was anything good about it. It was terrible, terrible. Stole the ending from Kevin Smith. Look it up. Anyways, so moving on to further Hollywood news in this case. So recently Seth Rogen went on the Howard Stern show. Talked about how much he despises Justin Bieber, and in fact said something along the lines of, he's a good example of someone you meet when you think you're going to hate them, and then you end up hating them as much as you thought. This is in paraphrasing or quoting from an interview where he was talking about how he was on a talk show, and Bieber was the other guest, and of course he requested that he meet Seth Rogen. Somebody came, got Rogen, and said, "Hey, Bieber, I'd like to meet you." He's like, "All right, cool." Goes into the dressing room to meet Bieber, and Bieber's just like, "Oh yeah, you're that Seth Rogen guy," kind of attitude. Now, that's of course paraphrasing and recollection of what he said, but essentially acted like he was the one that requested to meet Bieber himself versus Bieber requesting to meet Rogen. Rogen actually said, I could give a fuck about meeting you. I don't care, man. You little turd. I don't like you. Don't act too cool for me. And so, in response, in typical Bieber fashion, he kind of whine about it. His response was, "Sorry I didn't bow down to you when I asked to meet you. Was probably a bit shy and didn't want to go over the top," as he quoted on Twitter. Now, here's my problem. Justin Bieber, it has not... Let me start that again. My brother, my uncle, my aunt, my sister-in-law, huge Bieber fans in the early days. I kept saying, it's a little dangerous because the kid's getting too famous too fast and too big for his britches, that this will turn into, another typical Hollywood, kid star turning into a mayhem of an adult. They said, no, that's not going to happen to Bieber. He's too good of a kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders. The kid knows what he's doing. He's too smart for that. You didn't think he'd start hanging out with Young Money, did you? Then, now we got Bieber, who's driving around Miami drunk in a fancy car and then laughing about it and smiling in his freaking mugshots. Yeah, I'm with Rogan. He's a huge douche. Good for you. You got all the money you need. Go back home and fucking get an attitude adjustment. Grow up hair. Grow some hair down there. Give it about 10 years, and then maybe, just maybe, you could pull a Timberlake. Because, see, Justin's had his head straight from the beginning. That guy I admire. That guy I respect. That guy I bought every single record so far because he's freaking fantastic. Bieber, I've never touched a single one of your records. I know one song title, and that's a ridiculous Baby song. And only because who can forget a song called Baby? An original title there, man. So, I'm with Rogan. You're a douche. You're obviously a massive douchebag. In fact, there's a list of like 8 celebrities who openly state how much they hate Bieber on Twitter. They put these things on Twitter, on interviews, and talk about how he's just a massive douche. And what does he do? He replies like a big old boy. Oh, I don't know why you hate me, but that's okay. I'm still a fan. Alright, whatever, dude. That's probably your PR agent or your assistant doing that for you. But still, douche. So, douche. Alright, last story from the Hollywood ends. I really didn't find much in the video game section. Of course, there is some new Nintendo DLC coming out for the Virtual Console, which you can go to geekycastillo.com and check out what it is. There's a Mega Man game coming. Some of you may have not played it yet, because it's for the Game Boy. But to find out which one it is, you have to go to geekycastillo.com. Anyways, so, we all know The Simpsons have been running for, 20-something years. One of the longest running animated series of all time. I think it is the longest at this point. 550 episodes so far. Which I didn't talk about the Lego episode. I will say, Lego episode was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was beautifully written. When you get to the end of it and realize, or when you get to the reveal basically, and understand what's really going on, it's just poetry in motion. Great writing. Fantastic episode. Couldn't get enough of it. I watched it twice already. Probably going to watch it a third and fourth time before I end up erasing it from my DVR. But The Simpsons isn't the only series that ran for a very extended long period of time. Some of you may not remember them, but some of us unfortunately can't forget them as hard as we try. The Flintstones are coming back to the big screen, but not live. Action film? No. Instead, they're coming back as an animated film. In recent years, people like Seth MacFarlane tried to bring back the Flintstones as an animated series for Fox, and basically ended up dropping the project. Some may argue that MacFarlane's sense of humor was a little too dark for Hanna-Barbera's property. Could be. Except for the fact that Seth MacFarlane has very much extended experience when it comes to Hanna-Barbera properties because he used to work with them. He was one of the writers, and I think one of the artists, or animators, on Johnny Bravo. Y'all remember Johnny Bravo, right? Do the monkey now! Anyways, the Flintstones will be coming back with the help of Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. In other words, Gary Sanchez Productions. If you're not aware of who that is, they basically, they've written pretty much everything Will Ferrell has been doing for recent years. The same thing with Zach Galifianakis and so on. They write great comedies. They write they have a writing style that's very much their own. It tends to be a little dark, but it also tends to be very quotable comedy. So I think the Flintstones is finally in good hands as long as we aim at the fact that the Flintstones was intended to be an adult comedy and not a children's show. That's where the Flintstones went wrong. The original Flintstones was a comedy meant for evening television. And it ran for many years as an evening television show, much like The Simpsons. But then, think about it this way. The Simpsons goes off the air, right? Well, what do we do with The Simpsons? They're still hot. They're still popular. Well, in the case of the Flintstones, they had the same problem. They're still hot. They're still popular. People still want it. But adults are done. Let's go get the kids. What they do? They basically created, I can't even remember how many, I believe 5 to 6 other shows. Spin-offs, if you will. Everything from a variety show to Pebbles and Bam Bam's teenage, rebellious years where they're dating. Multiple movies, including Bam Bam and Pebbles having kids. But essentially, they did everything from... I used to love the Flintstone Kids, by the way. That was like about the only one I actually enjoyed. But there was even shows like where Barney and Fred suddenly decide to become cops and join the police academy, and they get this weird white mucusy flubbery thing. I don't remember what it was called. Anyways, so the Flintstones lost their fan base for a good amount of time because they decided to focus on children. Then, of course, we had the Flintstones movie, live action, which portrayed a few well-known comedians as the aforementioned family. I will say Rosie O'Donnell has never looked any fucking cuter. Ever again. Back in those days. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, we had the Viva Rock Vegas sequel, or prequel, where they tell the story of how Betty and Barney and Wilma and Fred met. Now, the first film, of course, tells the story of... Well, I'm not sure what the hell the story is anymore. I think it's when Bam Bam gets adopted and Barney gives Fred the promotion. He gives up a promotion so Fred doesn't lose his job. It's a complicated, convoluted, well-crafted Flintstones movie. So, there you are. The Flintstones is coming back to theaters. I'm not sure who the heck is looking forward to that. But the fact that Gary Sanchez Productions is involved, I have high hopes. I actually have high hopes for a Hanna-Barbera property. If you ever listen to my old shows on both Geeky Universe or Discipline Monkey Studios, and I don't even know if I have the file anymore, but I did a whole series. I think I clocked in at about 3.5 hours of me talking about every single Hanna-Barbera property and how much I hated each and every one of them. I've never, ever had a true happiness when it comes to Hanna-Barbera properties. They are always low-end comedy, slapstick that's crap, and just overall bad. So, having some hopes that this might actually be good is not a bad thing. That's sad when you think about the fact that I have no hopes for the X-Men movie, little hopes or expectations for the Spider-Man movie, and honestly, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Michael Bay is looking grim to me. And yet I'm looking forward to a Flintstones movie. Times are changing and getting weirder. So with that, thank you for tuning in. As per usual, do the subscribe, share, and like thing. I always like when you do that. Make sure you visit geekycastillo.com. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. And, feedback's always welcome. Conversations are always welcome. I don't know what else to tell you other than thanks for tuning in. Have a happy Thursday, almost Friday, or Friday Eve. That should be the word, not Throwback Thursday, Friday Eve. And then Friday should be Weekend Eve. Too complicated. God damn it. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow, or till the next time I see you. Until then, do yourself a favor. Enjoy your brew. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Now I want to hear from you. How do you feel about Lee Marshall's passing? Were you a fan of the Frosted Flakes Tiger, Tony the Tiger? They're great! If not, let me know. Are you still a fan of the cereal like I am? And actually quite saddened at the fact that a great announcer is gone as well. Let me know what you think of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes trailer. What do you think? Is this going to be a hit or what? Personally, I hope it is. I'm a fan of the originals, even though they were pretty bad at some points and they were pretty convoluted at the most part. But I'm looking forward to this one. Let me know what you think. Of course, let's talk some Bieber, man. You think Seth Rogen was justified in calling him a massive douche, basically? Or do you think he's a little out of hand? Or let's face it, do we all still want to support the Deport Bieber movement? Because I'm a believer on that one. Any other immigrant does something like he did, chances are you might get deported. Why should he be any different? Let me know in the comments. And of course, last but not least, what do you think of the possibilities of a Flintstones movie? We saw a great Simpsons movie. We've seen a live-action Flintstones movie. Are we ready for another animated feature that actually hits the big screen? I'm kind of excited of Gary Sanchez Productions being involved, but it's still the Flintstones. Let me know what you think. Of course, subscribe and click on the playlist. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, hope you're having a great day, and thanks for tuning in.